The dark queen of Eiran V. The rain on Eiran V was black, thick like oil, and it stained everything it touched. The people of this broken planet had long stopped looking at the sky. They moved in silence, shadows among ruins, hiding from the one who hunted them. She did not kill to conquer. She killed because it was in her nature. She was called Selith. No one dared say her name out loud. Tall, pale, with eyes like deep red stars and a presence that froze the air. She was not just a vampire, she was something older. Something cursed. In the ruins of a once great city, she walked slowly, her cloak dragging behind her like a shadow that had come alive. Her breath smelled like burnt flowers and ash. Her hands, cold and perfect, carried the hunger of 1,000 years. Every world she visited ended the same way: silence, fear, and drained bodies. Her thirst was endless. Even machines, even plants withered when she passed. Nothing grew in her path. No joy remained. She never smiled. She never spoke. She only took until she met the human. His name was Aaron Vale. He arrived with the Third Fleet, not as a soldier but as a medic. He wasn't supposed to be here. He had traded posts with someone else. Just one of those random things that happens in war. No one thought it mattered at the time. Aaron was not tall, not strong, not special. His uniform was always a little dirty. His hands were always shaking. He didn't carry a gun. Only a small medical scanner, a packet of field bandages, and a pocket-sized book his sister gave him before he left Earth. A book filled with poems about kindness. They told him about her on the first night, the vampire queen who came with the black rain. They showed him the footage, the way she moved without sound, how her victims dropped one by one, their blood turned into silver mist. If you see her, someone whispered, don't run. She enjoys the chase. Aaron didn't sleep that night. He sat under a rusted shelter, looking at the pages of his book. It wasn't fear that kept him awake. It was something else. Curiosity, sadness. How does something like her become that way? He wondered. Does she ever feel alone? No one asked questions like that anymore. Not here. Not on a planet soaked in death. But that night, something strange happened. Aaron was sent to help a group of injured scouts. They were too close to the red zone, where she was last seen. They needed fast aid. No weapons. Just medicine. He went. Alone. The forest he crossed was silent. Too silent. No birds. No movement. The rain came again, slow and thick. It stung his eyes. He walked with his hand on the scanner, hoping it wouldn't glitch, hoping she wasn't near. Then he saw her. Not far, standing between twisted trees. Still as a statue. Say lith. Her skin glowed faintly under the black rain. Her long hair floated like mist. She watched him, head tilted, like a cat deciding what to do with a mouse. Aaron froze. The scanner buzzed and died in his hand. He couldn't breathe. Every part of him said, run, scream, hide. But instead, he did something no one else ever had. He bowed his head. Then, slowly, without a word, he reached into his coat and pulled out the book of poems. The one his sister gave him. He held it out, arms shaking. I don't have blood to give, he said softly, but maybe this. Maybe this is better. The forest didn't move. Time felt like it stopped. Selith didn't speak, but her eyes narrowed, and she took a step forward. The gift she never expected. Air around Aaron turned colder as Selith stepped closer. It wasn't the kind of cold that came from winter or wind. It was deeper, like the kind of cold you feel when hope leaves a room. The trees around them shivered, leaves turning black and falling in silence. Aaron kept his hand out, holding the little book with shaking fingers. He didn't know why he was doing it. Every story he'd heard said she would tear him apart, but something in her eyes wasn't rage. It wasn't even hunger. It was confusion. Say lith stopped a few feet from him. Her eyes glowed like dying suns. She looked down at the book, then up at his face, then back down again. No one had ever offered her anything before. She had been given names: monster, reaper, witch. She had been chased, cursed, worshipped, and feared, but never gifted. She didn't move to take the book. Instead, her hand slowly reached toward Aaron's chest, fingers long and cold as ice. Aaron flinched but didn't step back. If this is the end, he thought, I want her to know that not everyone came to fight her. Her fingers touched the patch over his heart. Her nails were like obsidian glass. She could have sliced through his armor in seconds. But she did in single quotes t. Instead, she paused and closed her hand around the book. The moment she touched it, something strange happened. The black rain around them stopped. Not slowed, stopped completely, hanging in the air like tiny frozen stars. The trees stopped rustling. The sounds of war, even the distant hum of drones, fell silent. Say lith opened the book gently, flipping through its fragile pages. Poems. Little human poems. Written in soft ink and worn by years of touch. Her eyes moved quickly, scanning every word. Then, as she reached the middle of the book, her hand trembled. A torn corner had a note. It was written by Aaron's sister. To my brother, for the days when you feel like giving up. Selith stared at it for a long time. Your sister, she whispered. Aaron single quotes heart skipped a beat. It was the first word he had ever heard her say. Her voice didn't sound like he expected. It wasn't dark or sharp. It was broken, soft, like wind moving through ruins. He nodded slowly. Yes. She gave it to me before I left Earth. Selith turned another page. Do you miss her? Aaron swallowed hard. Every day. For the first time in 1,000 years, Selith closed her eyes. When she opened them again, the red had faded slightly. Her face still held power, but something behind it had cracked. A wall no one had ever touched. Once, long ago, she sighed. I had a sister too. The silence that followed was different now. It wasn't filled with fear. It was filled with something new. Memory. She handed the book back, but as Aaron reached for it, she stopped him. Her hand still held it, tightly. Read one to me, she said. Aaron blinked, stunned. You want me to read it? She nodded once. He sat down slowly, cross-legged on the wet ground, not caring that his uniform was soaked. He opened the book. Near the beginning, his voice was quiet, uneven. In the darkness, be the candle. In the fire, be the light. If the world forgets your kindness, let your kindness still burn bright. Selith didn't move. Her eyes closed again, but her lips were parted slightly, and in that moment, she looked less like a monster, and more like someone who had once been loved. Aaron read another poem. Then another. Time passed. He didn't. Noticed the black rain starting to fall again, but this time it didn't sting. It fell gently, like soft ash. Say lith remained there, standing in silence until he finished. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For reminding me, she said, what it felt like to be human. Then, without another word, she vanished. Not with a scream. Not with a gust of wind. She just faded, as if the forest had gently taken her back. Aaron sat in silence, heart pounding. And for the first time since he landed on Eiran V, he didn't feel afraid anymore. But in the shadows above, something else had seen what happened, and they would not be pleased. Whispers in the dark. Skyrim Vale returned to base at dawn. His uniform was soaked, his boots heavy with ash, and the book of poems clutched tightly in his hand. He didn't speak when the guards questioned him. Didn't explain why the scanner was fried or why his eyes looked like he hadn't blinked in hours. He just said one thing: she let me go. The others stared at him. Some laughed. Some thought he had lost his mind, but Commander Elric did not laugh. He had seen too much in his years on a dozen burning worlds. He pulled Eiran aside and locked the door behind them. What did she do to you? The commander asked, his voice low. Nothing, Eiran replied. She just listened. She's a killer. She's something else too. The commander studied him. We've lost 300 men since we landed. And you walk into her hunting ground with no weapon and come back with a story? Eiran didn't answer. He opened the book again. Pages still damp, words smudged. She asked me to read to her, he said softly, and then she spoke about her sister. Commander Elric froze. She spoke to you? Eiran nodded. Something shifted in the commander's face. Not fear, calculation. This changes everything, he said. We need to report this. Command will want to know. Eiran looked up. No, he said. Don't tell them. They'll come to kill her. The commander's voice turned cold. That's the point, soldier. We've been trying to kill her since the first colony fell. And now you're telling me she's capable of emotions? Eiran stood up. She didn't hurt me. That has to mean something. The commander didn't answer. He stared at the medic, eyes narrowed. Go rest, he finally said. That's an order. But as Eiran left the room, he heard Elric speaking into a hidden communicator. Prepare drone surveillance. Track his movements from last night. I want full satellite coverage of Sector 9. Eiran didn't hear the rest. He walked back to the barracks, his stomach tight. Something was wrong, and high above the clouds of Eiran V, something was watching. Not a drone. Not a satellite. It was another being. A hunter like Seliph, but older, crueler. His name was Dra even. In the cold halls of a forgotten moon. Dreven opened his eyes. He had felt the shift in Selith's aura like a scar that suddenly pulsed with warmth. Kindness. A poison she had not tasted in centuries. He hissed. His claws clicked against the iron throne as he stood. So. She hesitates, he whispered. Then she is weak. His body shimmered with dark energy, fangs carved from stone and shadow. If Seliph no longer remembered what she was. He would come and remind her. Back on Eiran V, Eiran dreamed of the forest, of poems and eyes that once burned but now flickered, with something softer. But while he slept, the command center confirmed unusual energy spikes near Sector 9. The drones sent images. Burnt trees. A circle of still air. And in the center, a single figure standing in the dark. Not, say, LITH. Something worse. The message was sent back to Fleet HQ. New hostile identified. Non-Seliph. Highly active. Prepare planetary lockdown. When Eiran woke, everything had changed. Guards at every corridor. Weapons drawn. He was ordered to report to briefing immediately. Inside the dark command room, Commander Elric looked pale. He turned to Eiran with a mix of confusion and dread. Your kindness, he said, may have started a war. The one who came to end Earth. Command room was quiet, but it wasn't peaceful. Everyone stood still. The only sound was the hum of old monitors and the soft whir of drones on the screen. Eiran sat near the back, his fingers wrapped tightly around the book of poems, his heartbeat thudding in his ears. Commander Elric stood at the center of the room, arms crossed, eyes locked on a blinking red icon on the map of Eiran V. The new entity landed 2 hours ago, he said. We don't know how it arrived. No ships were detected. It just appeared. Appeared where? Someone asked. Elric pointed. In the same forest where Seliph vanished. The exact same spot where Eiran last saw her. All eyes turned to Eiran. He didn't move. I don't think it's her, he said. Whatever it is, it's colder. I can feel it. Elric nodded slowly. You're right. Our scans confirm it. The heat signature doesn't match Seleth. This one is darker. No energy cycle. Just a void. We're calling it Entity D. D for what? Elric looked around. For Dreven. Aaron sat up straight. You know his name? Elric looked grim. We found a record, an old one, from a collapsed world near the Helion core. They spoke of a being who traveled with Seleth long ago, not as a friend, as her executioner. Aaron's breath caught. You think he's here to kill her? Elric leaned closer. I think he's here because something changed in her. And whatever you did, whatever kindness you showed her, it made her vulnerable. The room fell silent again. Aaron stood. I have to go back. The room erupted. You're not trained for this. That's suicide. He's not even a soldier. Elric raised a hand. Let him speak. Aaron looked at each of them. When I read to her, something in her broke. Not in a bad way. In a human way. She remembered something. Someone. Maybe her sister. Maybe herself. If Dreven finds her now, while she's still trying to feel again, he won't show mercy. Elric stared at him. And you think you can stop him? Aaron shook his head. No, but maybe she can. If she still believes there's something worth protecting. Elric's jaw tightened. You'll need cover. We'll send recon. No, Aaron said. If you send a unit, he'll sense them. I need to go alone. After a long pause, Elric finally said, You have 12 hours. After that, we drop. Strike protocol. Aaron nodded. He left the command center without another word. The forest was different now. The trees bent away from something unseen. The sky was black even during daylight. The rain had stopped, not because of peace, but because nothing dared fall. Aaron walked slowly, his feet crunching ash and broken branches. He called out softly, over and over, Seleth. It's me. Please hear me. No answer. Only wind that didn't blow. Then he felt it. A pulse. Deep under the ground. A ripple of fear. He turned and saw her. Selith stood at the edge of a broken ridge, looking down at something glowing far below. Her back was to him. Her hair floated as if underwater. Aaron stepped closer. Selith, he said gently. She didn't turn. Her voice was hollow. You should not be here. I had to come. She finally looked at him. Her eyes had changed. Not red, not glowing. Just tired. I remember now, she whispered. Dreven was always meant to come if I ever forgot who I was. If I showed weakness, if I showed mercy. Aaron took a step closer. You didn't show weakness. You showed strength. You remembered you have a soul. A tear, dark and shimmering, slid down her cheek. He's coming to erase that. Below them, the ground cracked open. A black form rose from the earth like smoke, solidifying into flesh. Tall, jagged, cruel. Even. His voice echoed through the forest like 1,000. Broken bones. You loved once. And now you will suffer. Aaron stepped in front of her. She's not alone. Dreven smiled. Then you will die with her. Selith placed a hand on Aaron's shoulder. No, she said. He will not die today. Her eyes burned again. But this time, not with hunger. With purpose. For the first time in her long life, Selith chose to fight for someone else. She bled light for him. Draven's voice cracked the trees. His laugh was jagged, like bones snapping in the dark. His eyes glowed blacker than any starless night, and his body moved like smoke wrapped around blades. You disappoint me, Selith. He hissed. You were made for silence, not for sentiment. Selith stood between him and Aaron. Her long black cloak shimmered with ancient symbols, once forgotten, now burning with faint blue light. Aaron couldn't speak. He had never seen anything like Dreven. He wasn't just dangerous, was designed to unmake things. Selith whispered to him without turning, You must run. Aaron shook his head. I won't leave you. Then stay behind me. Dreven raised one hand. The air bent and screamed as dark energy swirled around his fingers. The forest behind him withered in seconds. Trees turned to ash. Ground cracked open. "This is your last warning, sister," Driven said. "Return to what you were, or be destroyed." Seleth took a breath. Then she stepped forward. "I remember who I was," she said. "And I remember what you did to her." Driven's face twisted. "You swore never to speak of that." "Then kill me," she said softly, "but not him." In a flash, Driven attacked. He didn't move like a creature. He moved like a plague, like night-made flesh. Blades of shadow ripped through the air toward Eiran, but they never touched him. Seleth was there. Her arms opened. Body in front of him, and she took the full force of Driven's power. The sound of impact was deafening. She flew backward, smashing through 3 trees before crashing into the rocks. "No." Eiran screamed, running toward her. She lay still. For a moment, he thought it was over, but then she moved. Slowly, painfully, Seleth pushed herself up. Blood, silver and glowing, poured from her side. Her bones had broken, but her eyes were still on fire. "You always believed power was cruelty," she whispered. "But it's not." She turned her palm toward Dr. Even. A soft white light emerged. Thin and trembling at first. It wasn't an attack. It was memory. The light took form. A young girl, smiling, running barefoot through fields of red grass, holding a flower in avin. Her hand. Seleth's voice cracked. Her name was Elira. "My sister." Driven snarled. "Stop." The vision grew brighter. The girl faded into a memory of 2 sisters sitting under the stars, laughing. The older one, Seleth, reading a book of poems aloud. Eiran recognized the words. They were from his book. Driven screamed. "You were never meant to feel." Seleth's voice shook. "And yet, I do." With one last surge of strength, she pulled the memory into herself, and the light exploded outward, washing over the trees, the sky, the ground. Dra even staggered back, covering his eyes. His form flickered. He was not invincible. Not anymore. Eiran ran to Seleth's side. She was breathing hard, every breath a struggle. "Why did you do that?" he whispered. She looked at him, pain deep in her face. "Because you gave me a gift. The first gift I had ever been given." Eiran gripped her hand. "This isn't over. We'll find a way to beat him." She smiled faintly. "We already have." Above them, Driven rose again, weaker but not defeated. His body shook with fury. "You will regret this, both of you." Seleth stood, leaning on Eiran. Double quotes. "No," she said. "We'll remember this. You'll be the one who regrets." And then she whispered something in a tongue so old even Driven paused. The sky split open, not with thunder, but with light. A beam of golden energy struck the ground behind them. A portal. Eiran stared. "What is that?" Seleth turned to him, weak but smiling. The monster who found Mercythe portal behind them shimmered like liquid gold, stretching into the sky, humming softly like a memory half remembered. It pulsed with warmth, not heat, but something deeper, something alive. Eiran stared into the light, unsure whether it led to safety or to something stranger. Seleth leaned heavily against him, her body trembling, blood still seeping from her. Dra even stood just beyond the cracked trees, his chest rising with rage, his form flickering. His power was fading, eaten away by the one thing he never expected, mercy. He bared his jagged teeth. "You think that light will save you?" he growled. "You think it changes what you are?" Seleth didn't look at him. She looked at Eiran. "The moment you gave me that book," she whispered, "I stopped being what he made me." Driven roared. He hurled a wave of dark energy at them. It surged like a tidal wave of shadows, twisting the forest, shattering trees, tearing open the sky. Eiran braced for the end, but Seleth moved with the last of her strength. She turned and raised her arms. The energy struck her, but instead of destroying her, it passed through her. Her body shimmered with the same golden glow as the portal. Her voice rang out, not loud, but steady. You cannot take what I have chosen to remember. The light from the portal flared. The shadows shattered like glass. Driven was thrown backward, his form cracking, his scream swallowed by the rising light. The forest began to heal. Black trees turned green. Ash became soil. Salith fell to her knees. Eiran caught her. You did it, he whispered. You stopped him. She smiled faintly, her skin losing its glow. No, we stopped him. Behind them, the portal grew brighter, calling to them. We have to go, Eiran said. You can't stay here. Salith looked back one last time, at the forest, at the ruins, at the sky that had once rained black. I thought I was made to destroy, she said, but maybe I was just waiting for someone to see me. She reached out and took Eiran's hand. Thank you, human. Together, they stepped through the portal. On the other side was a garden. Not built, not planted, just there. Wildflowers moved without wind. Tall trees glowed with soft blue veins. A river ran uphill, its water humming a quiet tune that sounded like old songs. Salith breathed in, for the first time in 1,000 years. It didn't hurt to be alive. Eiran looked around, stunned. Where are we? Somewhere I never believed existed, she said. A place untouched by pain. A place where forgotten things are remembered. She knelt by the river, dipping her fingers into the water. Her wounds closed slowly, her strength returning. Eiran smiled. You look different. I feel free. He sat beside her, pulling out the old book of poems. Read me one, she said. He opened it at random and began. You don't need wings to rise, you don't need fire to shine. Sometimes the softest heart defeats the cruelest time. Salith closed her eyes. I think I understand now, she whispered. Somewhere far away, Driven crawled from the ruins, broken and lost. His power had failed. Not because of might, but because of meaning. He looked at the sky and screamed, but the stars didn't answer. No one did. He was alone. Back in the garden, Salith turned to Eiran. You were never meant to fight me, she said. You were meant to remind me. Eiran nodded. Remind you of what? She smiled. That even the darkest monster can choose to become something more. Her name was never a crusade. The days that followed, the garden bloomed even brighter. Every sunrise came with new colors. Every breeze carried laughter from a time long gone. It wasn't heaven. It wasn't earth. It was a space between. A place made not of land or time, but of choice. Salith walked slowly now, barefoot on soft grass, her feet no longer burning with pain. The hunger that once ruled her bones had faded. In its place was something quieter, gentler. Peace. Eiran stayed by her side. Not as a soldier, not as a savior, but as a friend. They built no shelter. They needed none. They lived simply. Reading. Resting, speaking of things that had been buried for centuries. One day, as the river sang its song again, Salith asked, Do you know what my name means? Eiran looked up from the book. No. What does it mean? In my language, she said. It means morning light, a light born from sorrow. She knelt beside the water, her reflection calm and unfamiliar. I was given that name when I was still a child. Before the war, before the curse, before I ever tasted blood. Eiran set the book aside. Do you regret who you were? She touched the water, watching the ripples spread. Yes. And no, I regret what I did, but not what I've become. Because now I know what it means to be seen, to be forgiven. They sat together in silence. In that moment, Salith wasn't a vampire, wasn't a queen of death, wasn't a weapon made to erase life. She was a woman who had once loved, lost, and now found again. Back in the known galaxy, the war began. To change, Driven's defeat sent ripples across systems. Creatures who had once followed him now fled, confused and broken. The humans, once seen as weak and emotional, were now spoken of differently, not because of their weapons, but because of their ability to change hearts. Rumors spread about a soldier who gave a monster a book, about a queen who walked through a golden portal, about a place that could not be found on any map. Some said it was a myth. Others searched for it with everything they had. But no one ever found the garden. Eiran stayed with Selith. For many seasons, they planted a tree together, not to mark time, but to mark healing. Its roots glowed with soft white light. On its bark, they carved two names. Eiran Vale Selith Illyra, her full name. The one she had buried long ago. Your sister's name? Eiran asked. Lith smiled. No. Mine. Selith was what the world called me when it feared me. Illyra is who I was, before fear. Years passed. One morning, Eiran woke early and found Selith sitting at the edge of the river. Staring into the mist. She turned to him. I think it's time. Time for what? For you to go home? Eiran's heart ached. Will I see you? Again? Selith nodded. You already do in every kind word. In every act of mercy. I'm not gone. I'm simply, finally at peace. A golden light appeared behind her, just like before. But this time, it was for him. He stood, slowly, then embraced her. Her hands were warm now, not cold. Thank you, he said, for letting me in. Thank you, she whispered back, for giving me a soul again. He stepped into the light and vanished. On Earth, in a quiet hospital far from war, a medic named Eiran Vale woke from a coma. He had been missing for months. No one knew how he survived, but clutched in his hand was a small worn book of poems. And next to it, a single white flower that no one could identify. Years later, children told stories of a vampire queen who once fed on blood until a human gave her a gift. They said she changed. They said she loved. And in the deepest corners of the galaxy, when the stars go quiet, some say they still see her walking through forgotten places, planting trees where ashes once ruled, not as a monster, but as a reminder that even in the darkest soul, a single act of kindness can bring back the light.